When you think about businesses that are selling through the roof, like aloe or skins, sure, you think about a great product, a cool brand, and brilliant marketing. But an often overlooked secret is actually the businesses behind the business, making selling, and for shoppers, buying, simple. For millions of businesses, that business is Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. With Shop Pay, that boosts conversions up to 50%, meaning way less carts are going abandoned and way more sales happening. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell whatever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more, sell on Shopify. Upgrade your business and get the same checkout Skins uses. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/Westwood1, all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/Westwood1 to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/Westwood1.
This is a PSA, or public sock announcement. Experts have declared Bombas socks as the best way to warm up chilly feet. These pairs are super cushy, soft, and designed for maximum coziness. Plus, for every pair purchased, another pair will be donated, so someone in need of essential clothing can stay warm this winter. Go to bombas.com/listen and use code LISTEN for 20% off your first purchase. That's BOMBAS.com/listen and use code LISTEN at checkout.
Welcome to the Covert Narcissism podcast. I'm your host, Renee Swanson. I am not a therapist, and you are not a victim. I want you to picture for a minute 2 kids sitting in a school cafeteria, and they're sitting across the table from each other. And you've got Erin on one side and Sammy on the other. And Erin is, fidgeting in her chair and kind of turning around, talking to neighbors. And in the process, she's pushing the table. And Sammy, who's sitting across from her, he's just trying to eat his food. He's just minding his own business, maybe talking to his friends. But the table keeps moving, and he's getting a little frustrated, and he says, "Hey, stop pushing the table." Well, Erin stops for, a few minutes. But before long, the pushing continues again because Erin's not paying attention to this. And she's, again, just moving around in her chair and talking, or maybe she's got her feet on the leg of the table. And as she's talking, she's moving her feet and the table is being pushed. And Sammy speaks up again. "Hey, stop pushing the table." "Oh, okay." And so Erin stops again. And this goes on and on throughout this lunchtime. And Erin stops each time, but each time the pushing of the table comes back. And each time Sammy says, "Hey, stop pushing the table." Well, after, many repetitions of this, Sammy is now quite frustrated. And so when the table gets pushed by Erin, because Erin's not paying attention to this, Sammy finally, after this many times of trying to get it stopped, explodes. Just all of a sudden, seemingly out of nowhere, Sammy shoves the table back, and the food goes flying, and Erin gets knocked out of her chair, in fact, and falls to the floor, and this big scene happens. Erin jumps up and says, "Hey, what'd you do that for? What's wrong with you?" Seemingly just unknowing to what the problem really is, really having no awareness of why Sammy did this. Well, what was wrong was Erin wouldn't quit pushing the table. So while Erin might not have been purposefully doing it, Erin put no effort into not doing it. Put no effort into, paying attention to Sammy's desires and feelings and just leave the table alone. And this drove Sammy to the point of extreme frustration and a reaction that was out of character with Sammy. Now, the school teacher, comes to solve all of this, and the school teacher might actually get on to Sammy. Sammy might actually be in trouble for this, and they might actually make Sammy to apologize. But that's not where the problem lies. The problem lies with Erin, who wouldn't quit pushing the table. And, if Sammy tries to bring that up, the teachers might even say, "Well, she wasn't paying attention. It was just an accident." But that still doesn't solve the problem, and it still doesn't explain why Sammy was to that level of frustration. Well, I'm going to tell you a story about my own childhood. You see, there was my parents had these friends who they had kids, and they had this little boy named, I'm going to call him Jimmy. And Jimmy was a couple years older than me, and our parents were friends, so we were together a lot. We socialized, well, they socialized a lot. And so when they socialized, the kids were together, and it was me and my older brother and Jimmy and his older sister. And Jimmy liked to tease. Jimmy got a real kick out of teasing me, out of just nagging me and pushing on me and picking on me. He would not leave me alone. And one particular evening, we were at Jimmy's parents' house, and downstairs in the basement, they had a pool table and a play area. So that's where we were. And I would, be trying to shoot pool. And as I'm trying to shoot pool, Jimmy would come and grab my pool stick, or just knock the ball away from where I was shooting, or roll the balls at the ball that I was shooting. Like, he just would not leave me alone. And I would speak up and say, Jimmy, quit. Leave me alone. Let me play. And he just wouldn't. He just would not leave me alone. And I would, then move on. I'd go play in the little play area, and maybe I'd be playing with some of the stuffed animals that were there. And he'd come up and he'd take them and he'd run off with them, or he'd kick them around or throw them through the air. He just would not leave me alone. And if I spoke up and said, Jimmy, stop. Oh, stop. You're going to make me. And he just kept on and on. And no matter how many times I asked him to stop, no matter what I did, this behavior was not going away. And this particular night, I had all I could take. And I'm only like 8 or 9 years old. And he was quite a bit bigger than me. But I reached a point that I was so mad that I acted completely out of character. You see, I grabbed a hairbrush, and for the first time in my life, and the only time in my life, I hit him out of complete anger. I hit him across the face with that hairbrush, right across his cheekbone, in just absolute anger and frustration. Well, he grabbed me, he threw me on the couch, and he was coming to jump on top of me. I don't know what he was going to do or what was going to come of this. My brother, being quite a bit bigger than Jimmy, my brother grabbed him and just kind of tossed him off to the side and said, leave her alone. And my brother says to me, you shouldn't have done that. And I remember thinking to myself, really? Why shouldn't I have been the one to do that? He's the one that won't leave me alone. All I want to do is play by myself in this room, and he will not leave me alone. He's teasing me, picking at me, taking my stuff. Tell him he's the one. So all I said to my brother was, tell him to leave me alone. Well, these two situations are about kids. These are kids that won't respect boundaries, that won't give you your space, that won't listen to your feelings. And let's admit it, with kids, this is not unusual behavior. But what about with adults? What do you do when adults won't behave, when they won't treat you with respect and honor your boundaries and listen to your feelings? I want to talk today about reactive abuse. Now let's put this into a marriage. Sarah had been married to Jake for, let's say, 15 years. And to outsiders, he sure looks like the perfect husband. He's charming, soft-spoken, and always willing to help out. But behind closed doors, it's just a different story. His words are sharp. They've got a really piercing edge to them, and everything she does is met with criticism. You should really marinate that chicken longer. It really dried out real bad this time. Or, you call this a clean house? Or when it comes to the kids, he might say, you really need to be more firm with the kids. I can't believe you can't stand up to them. And then when she does, she gets met with, well, you don't have to be so mean. Give them a break. On and on this goes. Nothing she does ever seems to be good enough, and everything is met with criticism. And she might speak up and say, hey, that really hurts when you talk to me that way. I really don't like all the criticism. And he might stop for a little while, but give it a couple of days and it's going to come right back. Or he might roll his eyes and sigh, saying, here we go again, dismissing her concerns and telling her she's overreacted or being overly sensitive. If she allows herself to actually show a little bit of frustration, he might even laugh at her and just mock her and dismiss her concerns. Yet the criticism continues on a daily basis. No matter what she does, she just can't get it stopped. Well, one night, after yet another round of his criticism and cold indifference to her feelings, she finally snaps. She just can't take it anymore, and she yells at him, please stop criticizing me. Nothing I ever do is good enough for you, so you do it yourself. I'm done. And she might even slam the door in frustration. Well, this is out of character for her. This is not the way she typically responds to, family life at home with him. And he might stand there dumbfounded going, I don't know what's wrong with her. I don't understand why she's so angry. Because you see, maybe he didn't even mean to be so critical of her, but he certainly didn't mean not to. He didn't put any effort into listening to her when she's telling him her feelings. So now instead he's going, well, what did you do that for? What's wrong with you? Why are you so angry all of a sudden? All of a sudden? This is not all of a sudden. This has been building for years. But yet he's going to tell her, you're the one that's out of control. And see, in that moment, Sarah's going to doubt herself. She's going to question everything. Am I the problem? Am I the...
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever think about switching insurance companies to see if you could save some cash? Progressive makes it easy. Just drop in some details about yourself and see if you're eligible to save money when you bundle your home and auto policies. The process only takes minutes, and it could mean hundreds more in your pocket. Visit Progressive.com after this episode to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states.
New markdowns up to 70% off are at Nordstrom Rack stores now. Fresh kicks, spring tops, new dresses, there's always a score.
I mean, the denim section is unreal.
Why do I rack? All the dresses. I always find something amazing.
Head to your Nordstrom Rack store to find can't-miss deals on all the spring things. Great brands, great prices. That's why you rack.
Fun with anger issues? Now let me share you another story. Mark has been married to Lisa for 10 years. And Lisa is known in the community for being kind. She's very charming in social situations. She always presents herself as being the considerate and devoted and supportive wife. And everyone knows her to be that way. But at home, she's got a different face. At home, she constantly belittles Mark. She makes sarcastic comments about him. She undercuts his achievements and just kind of belittles his achievements. She makes those sarcastic comments about his intelligence, dismissing his accomplishments. And when he confronts her about it, she doesn't believe it. She sighs and says, can't you tell that I'm supportive of you? Don't you know that I'm on your side? But yet the belittling continues. And no matter how many times he tries to speak up, it just won't ever stop. She accuses him of taking everything the wrong way. In public, she says, boy, his career's doing so well, and I'm so lucky to have such a smart and wonderful husband. He really works so hard. But in private, she tells him, you are so lazy. Can't you get anything done around here? I don't know how you manage to keep a job. And these little cutting remarks, they just dig under his skin. Again, whenever Mark tries to express his frustration to her, it's met with a complete twist of his words, a twist of his reality, making him feel like instead he was attacking her. She might burst into tears saying things like, after all I've done for you and everything that I do, and you don't even appreciate me. Well, now Mark feels bad, and he finds himself apologizing yet again, even though he's the one that is consistently being hurt. He tries to continue making peace with her. Well, one evening, after yet another Christmas family dinner, where she is singing his praises, making sure that everyone sees her as this supportive wife, but this was preceded by weeks of passive-aggressive treatment, the silent treatment, and these digs at home that just belittle him. Well, Mark finally snaps. He just can't stand it anymore, and he raises his voice, calling her out for her behavior. His patience has finally hit its breaking point. And that's when Lisa looks at him with wide, innocent eyes and says, wow, why are you so angry? Do you have, anger issues inside of you? Do you need to get some help? And maybe she actually even means that because she doesn't see all the buildup that's gotten to this point. And now he wonders if he's the crazy one. If you've ever exploded in anger after being pushed to your limits, only to have the covert narcissist turn around and call you the abuser, well, this episode is for you. This episode is about reactive abuse. And I want you to know what reactive abuse actually is. You see, reactive abuse happens when a victim of prolonged emotional, psychological, or even physical abuse reaches a breaking point and reacts in a way that looks aggressive, it looks extreme, it looks harsh, and it is. It's a reaction that's actually quite out of character for them. It could be yelling, screaming, name-calling, throwing something across the room. It can even be pushing back physically. Well, then the abusive person takes that moment and becomes the victim. They think that they are the ones being abused, and they twist the narrative to make it look like that you were the problem all along, but that's certainly not your reality. Again, no matter how many times you try to explain this to them and talk to them, they just don't see it, and they turn it around on you. Well, covert narcissism thrives in this dynamic because covert narcissistic abuse is so subtle. It's psychological and it is prolonged. So it is easy for outsiders, even for you, to miss the buildup that led to this reaction. You see, those subtle attacks, they build up. They build up over days, weeks, months, years, even decades. The subtle belittling comments, the passive-aggressive snide remarks, the blame shifting and blaming everything on you, none of this ever gets resolved, and so it just continues to build. And all it takes is one more tiny prick to push you beyond your breaking point. Now, to the covert narcissist, they didn't cause any of this. They were calm and rational and just minding their own business because, see, no matter how many times you tried to tell them what you're struggling with and what part what they're doing is hurting, they might not mean to do it, but they certainly don't mean not to. They don't put any effort into not pushing the table anymore, if you go back to the story about the table. Now, I want to assure you that if you are having this reactive abuse happening for you, that does not make you the abuser. Covert narcissists are experts at provoking a reaction and then weaponizing that very reaction against you. And here's how they do it. It's the constant gaslighting. So they deny your reality. They dismiss your feelings. They distort the truth until you feel like you're losing your mind. No matter how much you try to talk to them, it is a constant circular conversation, constantly circling and looping around to where everything is your fault. There's the silent treatment, When you try to talk to them like healthy people do, they just ignore you. They refuse to acknowledge your feelings, and they give you a cold shoulder and leave it as your problem to figure out. And then there's the poking, the subtle jabs, the passive-aggressive comments, the needling you until you explode. And then they're the victim. They're the ones that are being attacked for no reason. In their minds, for no reason, you are angry and upset with them. And the moment that you react to them, they shift gears. They now believe that they are the ones being hurt. They might even tell everybody, you're so abusive, and that they're the ones suffering. This is why so many survivors of covert narcissistic abuse find themselves labeled as the abuser and even start to believe it. They start to believe that they're the ones that are crazy, that they're the ones that are angry, that they're the ones that need help. This is all part of that narcissism script that plays out in these relationships. But if you hear nothing else today, I want you to hear this. Reacting to abuse is not the same as being the abuser. Reacting to abuse is different. It does not make you the abuser. You see, abuse is a pattern. It's a pattern of control, manipulation, sometimes intentional and purposeful harm. It's a pattern of not acknowledging your feelings and listening to you and putting effort into helping. A reaction, that's an isolated event. It's caused by extreme stress, frustration, hopelessness, and helplessness. You see, true abusers, they provoke, they manipulate, they orchestrate situations to break you down. And then they use that moment against you. You are having a very normal response to an extremely frustrating situation. You see, it is normal to become frustrated when your feelings aren't heard. It is normal to want to be seen, to want to matter, to want to be validated. It is normal to want to be heard and for your feelings to be cared for and acknowledged. It's normal to react when your words are being manipulated, dismissed, and even used against you. The reactions you are having are normal responses to a bad situation. Your reaction to this does not define you. Your pain is valid. Pain will cause a reaction, and your reaction is valid. You might be asking, how do I stop reacting to this covert narcissistic abuse? How do I keep myself in check so that I don't explode? Next week, I'm going to do a deep dive into gray rocking. Now, you've probably heard of gray rocking before, and this is where you become as boring as a gray rock. Now, I will tell you that gray rock can cause things to escalate. It can make matters worse. So please pay attention to that, and let's find an effective way to gray rock. I'm going to give you that next week with just some effective ways to approach this so that you can keep yourself safe while also keeping your reactions to this abusive behavior in check. So I hope you can join me next week. Please don't miss that episode. Reactive abuse is one of the most painful cycles of a covert narcissist playbook. They push you until you react, and then they call you the mean one. But right now, today, you have taken a powerful step in understanding it. Remember, your reactions do not define you. Your abuser does not get to rewrite your story. If you are looking for more help, someone to talk to in all of this, please reach out. I am here and I am happy to help. You can find my resources at covertnarcissism.com. You can email me anytime at Renee, RENEE, at covertnarcissism.com. I look forward to hearing from every single one of you. Please know you are not alone. You deserve peace and you are stronger than you know. Until next time, I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. You have been listening to the Covert Narcissism podcast. If you are struggling with covert narcissism in your life, I help people to heal from covert narcissistic abuse. If you are struggling with the isolation, the self-doubt, and the obsessive thinking, then this is the program for you. I offer both group and individual options. This is live, personalized coaching that is specific to covert narcissism. Reach out to me anytime. You can find me at my website, covertnarcissism.com. I'm not a therapist and you are not a victim. I am a coach and you are a survivor. I wish you so much peace on your journey of healing. The information provided by Renee Swanson and the Covert Narcissism podcast is for educational purposes only and is not to be used for diagnosis purposes and not intended to be a substitute for clinical care. Please consult a healthcare provider for guidance specific to your case. This material discusses narcissism in general. It does not claim that any specific person has narcissism and should not be used to refer to any specific person as having narcissism. Permission is not granted to link to or repost this material to support an allegation or a claim that any specific person is a narcissist. That would be an unauthorized misuse of the material and information provided.
Look around. You can find cars like these on AutoTrader, like that car riding your tail. Or if you're tailgating right now, all those cars doubling as kitchens and living rooms are on AutoTrader too. Are you working out and listening to this ad at the same time? Well, multitasking pro, cars like the ones in the gym parking lot are for sale on AutoTrader. New cars, used cars, electric cars, maybe even flying cars. Okay, no flying cars, but as soon as they get invented, they'll be on AutoTrader. Just you wait. AutoTrader.
Owning a boat comes with a number of perks, like being able to say, ahoy, or land ho, and not feel weird about it. So here's another perk. Geico's boat insurance offers access to the largest towing fleet on the water. And with specialist support from agents that are as passionate about boating as you are, there's so much value that you'll want to say, shiver me timbers, and not feel weird about that either. Get more with Geico.